This has to be one of my favorite gods to watch. Just always loving watching a bit of Zeus gameplay. From the Keen clan, it's going to be Kido who's going to be piloting this blue Zeus in this one. Now, he's going to be up against an Amaterasu, and we'll be watching from his point of view, and straight away, he's doing something that we very rarely see the Greeks doing, which is all villagers over to gold. Pretty much every build order historically, unless you're playing as Hades, where you're grabbing this early Vault of Erebus, is all the villagers over to food, maybe one over to gold to get that early rush down. But why would you think that he's grabbing all his villagers over to gold very early? Well, I think he's going for 150 gold, which would be exactly the right amount to drop a temple very early on. Now, there are two things that you can do with this, and it's interesting to see what he will go for. So he's obviously herding with his Kataskopos. This is essentially what the Norse players do currently, which is they are grabbing their Berserk, coming forward with the Deers, herd them underneath the town centre to get early hearsers out. Now those early hearsers can either rush or go for relics. Now, where the Greeks are a little bit different, it isn't about rushing, it's about getting the early Jason out to grab relics or leaving a villager on a temple very, very early. So normally you would finish your temple at around 4 minutes, depending on when you advance, maybe 3:30. And then that's when you would start gathering favor. But you can gather favor much earlier on, or you can grab a Jason very, very early. So I don't know if that's what Kido's going to go for here. Maybe an early Jason. Yeah, early Jason makes sense because he did grab the wood to do that also. He also has a very, very nice storehouse to make this happen, where you could chop straggler trees around your town center. It isn't a big deal, but here it's very, very nice that this villager here has basically no walking time. Sometimes you can get gold mines that are going to spawn right next to your wood line, which is going to help you out. But either way, this is just a really sick build order, and I have thought about it recently, where why don't you just do this with every civ? Maybe some are a little bit harder than others, like the Egyptians are going to be a little bit tricky because you have to spend the gold to actually grab the relics. You have to build the temple, then grab the hands of the pharaohs to be able to grab relics, and Jason is going to be going forward grabbing skulls of Cercipes here, which is six monkeys spawn from the relic. Very, very nice. And we're on Mount Olympus here against the Amaterasu Mirari, who I don't actually know who that is, but a very high level account anyway. We'll be seeing what Kido can do, but I imagine the Kataskopos is going to be looking over here. Sorry, I have a hotkey set up to actually follow this guy. That's not the one I want. There's definitely a hotkey to follow it, so it's pretty nice. Unfortunately, I'm going to press slow speed, whatever. But we'll be looking around the edge of Mount Olympus for as many relics as possible. Is this one going to be any better? Human soldiers and heroes are going to be less vulnerable to pierce damage, which maybe the Amaterasu here is going to go through Menekatatomi, get the good archer relics, archer upgrade, sorry, and then you're going to be countering that one nicely. So could be an option, especially if you're going Athena, which Kido is. So you're going to double up on the Aegis shield. And Jason's going to be looking for something else, maybe just a little bit of pressure. And I imagine the build here is going to be Heracles into town center, would be my guess. He's dropping a granary here on the chickens because he's just about to finish up on the deers. But that would be my guess. It's definitely something. It's something that the Mister popularized right at the start of Retold. There's going to be a relic that's gone amiss there that we didn't see. But putting pressure on into a town center, and yeah, it's just such a great Greek play because Heracles and Jason, they're very, very strong at just putting on early pressure. If you combine that also with the Olympian parentage for the extra HP and healing for your Jason Heracles combo, very, very difficult for a lot of civs to deal with. You need some high base damage units to deal with that one. And as the one you do, actually there could be a quick villager kill. Unfortunately, the Jason goes after the deer instead of the commoner. The commoner does get out with its health and does force out the solar shield. Jason does need to back away because this will out heal his damage. But one solar shield down for a Jason, probably not worth it. But Jason doesn't get away. He is kind of cheap, but still, if you could get the relic, oh not the relic, the upgrade to heal that bad lad back up, then you would be fine. But Kido doesn't want to be on the favor for the time being because he wants to get his town center as soon as possible. And I imagine he's going to be bringing these gold villagers over. This town center is awful though. I don't rate this one. Maybe grabbing one of the middle ones does make sense on this map. Oh, good pressure coming over this way. Unfortunately, knocks the commoner to safety in the sentry tower. If you really want to min-max this, you can take off, you can just press Alt-Q so that your Minotaur doesn't do the headbutt, and then you can just get a couple of hits off before you hit them. Just because it is a bit of RNG if sometimes they hit into the tree and they just slump straight down. Sometimes they get hit very close to a sentry tower. That was unfortunate for Kido. He should have been able to get a kill there, but the gods are shining on Mirari here instead. That one Udo tanking for days, and there is not enough favor to use a solar shield. I know we shouldn't be able to see from the perspective, but anyway, even forcing out a second solar shield to save the same unit would have been nice. But it is going to be that back town center. Okay, a lot of players really rate these back town centers because they're so close. And I guess you have 8 goats, you could bring the 8 goats over here, but this town center literally has nothing. Because the map's Mount Olympus, it means that the snowy pines and things aren't even close. I guess you could say that the deers and the gold mines they're kind of close. They're just forward. If you can grab a villager, build a wall here, it's going to be like a 30 gold wall, not very expensive. You can even build a wall over this side. So you've got probably 80 gold or so, and you pretty much, maybe you'll need one more. Oh, Heracles still getting some damage done. Olympian Parentage is going to be on the way to start healing him up. And actually a bolt on the Onimusha there. So that's the hero samurai. Just wanted to make sure his Heracles got out, I think. But Heracles, he's a fast lad. It's more... Oh, he's going to go back in. Unfortunately, the Naginata Rider, probably that was the one that wanted to get bolted, because Heracles is going to go down, and he is expensive. 175 gold for that guy. Nice pick off from the other side, but Myth units cost less favor is huge relic. And Myth units use their special attacks more often. Okay, if that Heracles could have got out and got double relic there, that's crazy. Maybe if you'd have seen those early on, you'd go Centaurs in this position, because Centaurs against Amaterasu is pretty strong. Or you can just grab them now, do it for the Minotaurs, save it for the mid game if you want to go for the Manticores. The Manticores pretty similar to those Centaurs. So they'll be cheaper, and you get those specials off. Mirari going to be coming in for a bit of damage with the Naginata Riders, but I imagine Relic Monkeys plus Toxotes are going to be enough to scare those guys away. Yes, the horses do counter the Toxotes, but he can sit next to Sentry Towers, he can sit next to Gold Mines and be absolutely fine. Nice little bit of a quick wall building there, and the Naginata Riders are probably going to get away. And I believe that Amaterasu here is going to spot this town center. Oh, we'll be able to snipe one villager. Nope. Nice quick reaction to be able to get those in. One villager might go down. There's just not enough of a reaction. The Toxotes and Relic Monkeys ran around the long way. That's why there wasn't the reaction that we thought. I think Kido probably pressed the right button, but sometimes the units just have a mind of their own, and all because of that, actually, the units are going to try and get away. Maybe the wall wasn't the play, because it's just going to keep these Naginata Riders around. But all the walls are up. One villager did not go down, actually. So Kido's going to be very, very happy with how that went. It could have gone a lot worse for him, as the walls are going to be able to finish up. There's a 2 HP Naginata Rider here, and Town Center should be able to deal with that one, you would like to think. But no ballistics means that the Riders just need to run in the right position. Mirari here doing a big distraction, so maybe he's doing something behind this. Maybe he's grabbing town centers. Maybe he's heading to the next stage. We don't know. He could grab one town center, two town centers. The ghost building here didn't actually get finished off. And what are we doing? Are we heading to the next stage? Hoplite's going to be being built. Just enough hoplites to defend, more than likely. Heracles, is Heracles still here? No, Heracles needs to get built back out. Especially when you have that Olympian parentage. He's almost as fast as a horse with those strong legs. So definitely worth it. And this is something that I really like watching Kido play, because he's always scouting. He's always trying to see what his opponent's up to, and he's scouting the town centers. And I guess that means this town center's up. And it is. It is. So Kido knows he's up against another 2 TC player, so he's going to be grabbing his hand axe, grabbing his pickaxe, and heading this one into the next stage of the game. Heroic Age coming through. Do you go for that Manticore play with the Underworlds, or do you go the other way? It looks like Kido's decided, and he goes Dionysus. Dionysus with the big bronze push does make sense. Also, Hydra have been like low-key slept on. It's kind of crazy how good those Hydras are with the Hydra upgrade. So a lot of these HP regens that we have here are one per second or 1.5 per second. So some of the hero regens for the Atlanteans, I think that's 1 HP per second. The healing spring is 1.5, and the the Hydras are 4 per second. It's absolutely crazy. So it's 4 times better than the upgrade for these heroes. So they just tank for days. If you have one with 5 heads, it's doing so much damage and regenning. The hoplites here going to be spotting the Naginata Riders. So maybe that's something that we see Kido go for. Would make sense to get this relic, which is cheaper. This one obviously doesn't matter. The Hydra doesn't have a special. Its special is gaining heads, but it doesn't count like that. And we're going to be moving on to... I don't know why this gate isn't opening. Sometimes this spectator mode is so dumb. Anyway, doesn't matter. It opened for him during the gate. That's all that matters. It's actually going to be Minotaurs. Minotaurs, Sarissa, going to be coming through. Building wise, he's got 3 military barracks, 2 archery ranges, and a 2nd temple going up. Yes, this is what we like. This is exactly what we like to see. More temples and some samurais going to be coming through for the Amaterasu. So Kido does have to run away. These Toxodis on the backside, they're so slow. So one is going to be going down. Relic monkeys do manage to bring everything else out alive, sacrificing themselves, and they come back. So Kido does not care about that one in the slightest. I think he's trying to save his resources for the next stage so he can spam out some Hippaspis, probably. Hippaspis are going to be so good against the samurai. But maybe just more Toxodis, more Hoplites are going to be a good option, because Hoplite's good against the Naginata Riders as well. And while the Amaterasu is pushing through on this side, Kido is getting the walls up on this top side. We won't go there because don't want to miss the action, but he is getting set up on the next gold mine. Just what you always want to do. If you're pushed off one resource, grab something else, where my mouse is. But Restoration going to be forced out, which does force Amaterasu away. And the Minotaurs are just going to keep spawning. The issue... Oh, it's even forcing out the bronze. And I think that is just going to be red player out of here. Kido needs to get some big damage on the backside. Bronze can be used like this, though. You don't always have to go for a big max value push. You can just say, I've had my town center longer than you, and I don't want to fight you yet. You've had more resources to spend than me because you're not in the next stage. I've been spending resources to get to the next stage. You've spent all that on army. I don't want to fight you. Let's just drop down the bronze, and that's exactly what Kido's done. Sometimes that's all you need to use. I know it's not super flashy, rather than going for a full 175 pop or 190 pop army kind of bronze. But as Zeus, you can go for that again. There's nothing saying that you can't go for that again. These guys gather at 20% faster than all the other Greeks. And Greeks gather favor at a sick rate anyway. So going for that one, he could go for a second bronze if he wants to. I rate second bronze over second restoration nowadays. Second restoration is so expensive. And actually big raid coming in for the hoplites. Kido, is he paying attention? Yes, it looks like Mirari's paying attention as well, but not going to be quick enough. And that's going to be a nice bit of damage done. 3-4 villagers going down there. 5 villagers going to carry on. But the counter raid going to be coming in. But I believe the Bull Minotaur should be enough to deal with this one. Not jumping inside the town center. I thought that might be a mistake. Some of these pro players, they like to leave it so late. But that time definitely justified. One problem is, though, you don't want to get these hoplites caught out. They are good against buildings. So these quick wall ghost building things, they're not very good against the hoplites. I think a couple of samurai specials are going to be kind of tanked by these hoplites, and maybe some Naginata Riders on the way back, but they should be able to get out, as the Naginata Riders will snare these boys up. But I believe the hoplites will get away, at least the vast majority of them. And even if you lose like 2 or 3 here, even if 4, I think that's absolutely fine to take down that sheer amount of villagers. Was a nice play. Paspis coming in to counter the samurais, and it's a full infantry-based army for the time being, with just the Athena upgrades, Sarissa, Aegis, Shield. The medium one's going to be coming in, Irrigation as well. Nice to see a little bit of a farm transition, as this map, it doesn't have that much food on it. Oh, yes, the Bull Minotaur raids. Here we go, boys. Bull Minotaur raids are off. These are scary. If you only remember them from the original game, these were like tanky units, but now the Bull Minotaur upgrade in Retold gives these guys 5.2 speed, so they be zooming. And they're very, very sneaky. Unfortunately, not sneaky enough. Maybe they're just clomping around with the big hooves or whatever the Minotaurs have. And that is going to force some bushies back to defend. Do these guys have ballistics? No, they don't. So the Bull Minotaur should be able to get away very, very easily. Oh, unless they come at the wrong angle. I think a couple of villagers are going to be going down here. For sure. One villager down, 2 villagers down. Don't want to lose the Minotaurs, though. That's a definite no-no. One does go down. 1 for 1 villager. Oh, that's not ideal. But the distraction is on, and Hera is pre-queued. Love the Hera pick. As you can just go... Hera is the mass myth unit god, basically. Looks like there's 1 villager up here, and the Minotaur is going to get caught out. But now Kido knows that's fine. I don't mind sacrificing 1 Minotaur to know where the entirety of the other player's army is at this point. What is this goblin doing? He's never coming back down. But the Minotaur is just so annoying at this point. Samurai is going to be coming back. The Samurais, they're not a bad option against myth units. I don't think the stun's going to... Oh, it does stun them. Okay. I knew it wouldn't hit them out of the way because they're too heavy. Oh, the Minotaur, not as heavy as the Raiju, though. Does try and bolt that one to get the Minotaur away. It's a 55 favor bolt. I think it would have been worth it to bring the Minotaur back, but unfortunately was not able to. But while all that distraction's going on, we're always going to watch the distractions, but the fortress is up. Next gold mine secured, this gold mine secured with this fortress. And this is what you've got to do. You can't just be paying attention to one thing at once. You've always got to be doing something behind it if you want to get to these kind of top level plays. And to be honest, this is why I'm watching Zeus with Zeus players, because Zeus is like my worst win rate god with 40%. It makes me sad because Zeus is such a fun god to watch and fun god to play, but I suck. So watch Kido, he's good. Anyway, Hera coming through. Hera, you want to be baiting these units to come through, big lightning storm, and then you get the tempo to come back. That is the idea anyway. And Hera's not coming through on this one, so even if the Amaterasu does manage to take down this town center, it's not the biggest deal. Because well, unless you lose the villagers, it's a big deal because all the farms are here, and there is going to be that annoying Thunderburst getting dropped down. Thunderburst, all the units are going to take some considerable damage. You can restoration on the side of it, but obviously restoration's already been used. Losing 16 villagers though, that is the problem. The town center going down wasn't a big deal, but if you lose the 16 villagers, that does bring the Amaterasu back into this one in terms of villager lead, villager numbers. But these villagers seem to be walking in a perfectly straight line, which is confusing these red units. If this happens to you, they updated the targeting for the game. So if you want to go for a certain villager, you don't get bumped anymore. So you could just send units to the front villager, and they will run past everything to get there. It's so much cleaner than it used to be. Holy lightning storm. You're stuck between the army and a wooden wall and a fortress. I expect all of these units to go down, and the Amaterasu here probably just has to sit and fight, which is what he's trying to do, which is exactly why Kido's running away. He's like, nah, you're going to take the damage. I don't need to sacrifice any HP here. And just a few samurais left over. There was a couple of Naginata riders that were actually getting the value here that they probably shouldn't have. But full Hypaspid's army is going to be able to sort out the samurais. And the town center trying to come back up. These, like, very small amount of horse raids are so frustrating for Kido to deal with in this position. Just because he doesn't have the fast units. He doesn't have the Prodromus. He doesn't have anything. I was just about to say I wouldn't mind seeing the Prodromus, but it's so expensive to kind of tech into that one. And then they're awful against Samurai, which is really the late game comp that Amaterasus want to go for. They want to build Samurais. So probably not the option really. And Monstrous Rage, I did see some Medusas queued. How many Medusas came out? So we got 3, and did manage to get that special attack recharge time, which is nice. I think this one must have gone missing. The myth units cheaper, but still going to be getting that one. Going to be getting Archive Patronage. We never ever see this tech, but what this does, because we never see it, it produces Myrmidon for free every 60 seconds from a fortress. So 2 every 60 seconds from 2 fortresses. So the more fortresses you have, the more free stuff you get. And Myrmidon they just keep getting buffed. They get buffed like every other patch because nobody builds them. And nobody builds them because they're not as fast as hoplites. That is purely the reason. They have divine damage, which is cool. I'd love to see the Bellerophon raids. But yeah, do they just two-shot villagers? He doesn't have the equipment to survive. He needs to grab that one, then he three-shots them, which means that the villagers can get out of dodge. But two shots means that, I mean, even without that, Bellerophon is such a prolific raider. You just need to be paying attention to him. Yeah, queue over the over the fence just to go after the next commoner. Boom, take out that guy. Again, causing distractions. What is he doing with these distractions? Fortress on the town center. He's got a third fortress, which means it's going to be more Myrmidon coming through. Bellerophon as well. 6 speed. He's 5 speed when he's snared. He also has the regen from earlier. Villagers getting a little bit confused. Going to be jumping over the gold mine. Oh dear. It's definitely my favorite unit. I think Polyphemus is, or at least my favorite Greek hero. Anyway, Polyphemus is better. He just is. He is busted, to be honest. But Bellerophon is he's just so fun. You've just got to be really paying attention to him. Otherwise, up against these 4 units, he will kind of slowly lose. You'd have to watch out for that big swipe coming through. The swipe kind of whiffed, but it is going to stun a lot of the units anyway. Azura going to be... Oh, nice bolt. I was going to say bolt does go through the solar shield. So when it... Holy, that stun lasts for ages. It was... That was a stun from the sword, right? So even if it doesn't kill them, it basically does. Wow. Big tempo swing coming back. So after the lightning storm, the sword is essentially the same thing. But I think Kido's going into mass Myrmidon here. The question, really... Oh, he's also trying to get the fortress up on this top side. Probably just needs to get boiling oil. Yeah. The question is, do Myrmidons trade well into Samurai? And I don't know. I think Samurai are better than Fanatics. And Myrmidon are basically Fanatics. But you can build them for free, basically. Now you've got that text. You can spend all the extra resources on getting your bronze armor, bronze shields, all that good stuff. So maybe this is the play. Myrmidon Medusa is a comp that sounds good on paper. So we'll see how it manages to work out. Oh, look at this. This red bar is always full. So many units for Amaterasu, as there always is. With a 247 pop, he's obviously got some cool relic there. So Kido tried to snipe the relics early doors, but wasn't enough for him. And the Azuras. Oof. I mean, there is Bellerophon, but is he just going to get melted before he gets there? Dojo going to be coming up. Does Bellerophon notice that? I think he just wants to stop the gold mine. I think that's his plan, rather than just going on villager raids, because there are 3 TCs. It's not about the villager raids, it's about stopping the gold income. That gold mine is stopped, so Bellerophon going to be doing something else. But now the Azura is coming through. Passive is going to be built as well. Heracles can push past everybody if that's what he wants to do. Heracles, Jason, Odysseus going to be needed for these Azuras. They just, look at the damage just racks up. Nice Medusa play though. You can also just get the Medusas to turn them to stone, which means they can't do anything while they're turned to stone. No one-shots anymore, but if they're not doing the damage, I imagine the fire doesn't come out when they're turned to stone. That guy's dead, you can't really tell. But they do have this kind of passive where the fire just comes out even if they're, not attacking physically. So I hope the Medusa stun stops that as a counter for us rooting for Kido here. But more Medusa's going to be coming out. And Hephaestus, even Hephaestus is struggling. Is it full iron on this side? No, it's bronze versus the bronze. So Hephaestus should be doing better, really. But I guess there's just no upgrades for the Hephaestus for Zeus here. You don't really have anything. You could get the... what is it called now? It's something from the temple. Oh, he's already got it. Okay. This one. Dionysia. I always want to call it Bacchanalia, but that's the wrong thing. It's because it used to be named after Bacchus for some reason, which is the Roman version. Don't know why, but anyway. Now we're in a late game situation. Late game is here. Late game has arrived, and we're up against Japan. Obviously rooting for Kido, because we're from his point of view. What do you do? Fortresses up everywhere for our Argive patronage plan is definitely one of the best shouts. But also, it's dealing with the dealing with the wizards. So we've got the Onmyoujis coming out from the other side, the mages. Very, very difficult. The other thing is gold mine situations. Always what you got to think about in a late game situation. So we've got 300 here, not enough. We've got 5k, 6k here, full gold mine, but need to get a fortress up. And this one that's not really secured, 5k left in this one. So you need to secure your own gold mines before doing anything else. I mean, you could also aggress onto your opponent, but it depends what's kind of happening there. But there are still gold mines to go, but getting a kind of trade started, like a slow one market trade, is a good idea when you're running low on the gold mines. You don't need to be doing anything drastic yet. And kind of just biding time to get these upgrades in, I think, is what Kido's plan is. Oh, the Medusas, they do have 21 range, so they can outrange the wizards pretty nicely. You just got to be on it with that micro. And pure Hippaspis, is there anything to take out the Onmyoujis or even the Yumi archers in the backside? That's the issue. Maybe getting the hoplites in are going to be something, but just a couple of Peltas wouldn't be the worst idea. Maybe just, we've got 2 archery ranges, maybe just build a handful of them from that one. I think it's probably going to be your best bet. You don't want to overbuild them because the Myrmidon hoplite front line is doing good things. Oh, the Medusa in the backside. I guess it's just Medusa instead. Just she's better than a Peltas, right? But it's difficult to get her on mass because right now we've got 100 fate. Look at these wizards. Oof. The wizards coming through. What can Kido do about it? I think he's trying to spam units out. The issue is the Archer Ball. That is the pure issue here, and I don't know without Peltas whether you can do anything. You can get some Hippias in, but transitioning into that, basically transitioning into anything with a lack of gold right now is a struggle, which is why he's spamming pure infantry, because the champion upgrades are in. Champion infantry is going to be better than an unupgraded Peltas. Yeah, we don't even have medium here. So unupgraded Peltas, not ideal. Saving up for a bronze to push in, that could be a good option, or a restoration even. Either or, doesn't really matter. But tanking up against these to stop this settlement going up is a must. And I think it's like a last-ditch effort here for Kido. Needs to get in. The Onmyoujis, though, oof, they're just so tough. Not enough for a bronze. There's enough for a restoration. I think that's what you got to go for, because you've got it. What else is there to do? Restoration. A lot of the hoplites are getting so confused here. I don't know why they're so confused, but they are. That's sometimes the game be gaming. I don't know. It's it's really funny sometimes how the units just kind of mass up. It's not funny when you're on the receiving end of it and your units just get confused, but unfortunately the restoration wasn't the one. But that was all that Kido could afford, really, was the restoration. If there was a bronze, could he have pushed in and done better in this fight? Maybe. But the units are still alive. It's just the sheer amount of wizards that are in. I guess the Myrmidon should shred those mages, right? They should. They do have divine damage, and actually, he seems to be doing okay anyway. Maybe not. There is defender's advantage for Kido, but he's down 4-2 TCs right now, and that's always a tough position to be in. I hate this unit. It's a hero's siege weapon that you can garrison in buildings. Why is that okay? It's not. I'll answer that. It's not okay. Now the Toxotes trying to come in, but like we say, unupgraded Toxotes in this position. Now I think what you got to do is push somewhere else. You could push up this top side. I mean, it's easier said than done. You've got to think about this so much when you're in the game. This gold mine's still fine. This one is going to go to Greston very soon. All these buildings are going to start to go down. There was 14 archery ranges though. So Kido in the last kind of minute has just spammed these up. Realizes that that's what he needs to do, and it is going to be changing the direction. This is what you have to do. It's also such a good Zeus play, is your Myrmidon do divine damage plus bonus damage versus buildings, so they are a siege weapon. The hoplites are basically a siege weapon anyway, but the Myrmidon are proper siege weapons, because divine damage ignores all the building armor, so it's as if they're just dealing their raw damage to anything with a bonus multiplier. And is he just going to raid the next town center? Is that what he's going to do? It's not a bad decision. Or just completely clear this up, try and take this town center, swap the game over there, while also taking the middle. Bit of chess plays here. 8? There's 7 now. 7 fortresses spamming out Myrmidon. Also, this Arcanine patronage, or whatever it's called, actually got nerfed because of the deathmatch players, which is wild to me, because it's not a good tech. It's a fun tech, but it isn't good. But I guess we just don't want lots of balance changes, one for deathmatch and one for regular supremacy games, but whatever. Anyway, I think these Myrmidons could be able to take out the fortified town centers on their own, if they wanted to. Going after the villagers, and I just think there's nothing to stop this ball. That's the problem. There's nothing to stop this death ball here of the Onmyojis. You can see they just don't get touched by... Even these are heavy Toxotes. They just don't deal the damage, really. Unless you had a full ball of them, like 30 Toxotes, then maybe we're talking, but very, very difficult to get those in the right position, for sure. Hoplites coming over here. Mirari playing this well with getting all the guard towers up, forcing proper siege weapons to come through, like the Heliopolis to come in, which tank properly against guard towers. Whereas one downside of the Myrmidon hoplites is they just don't have a lot of pierce armor. And towers be dealing that pierce armor, the arrows. Kido valiantly staying in this one though. He's trying to figure out a way back into this one. It's just very, very tough. You just need to catch your opponent off guard. You need to attack here, you need to attack there. And one good thing about this army is it is very slow. So you can definitely do that. But what Mirari needs to do is just go for it anywhere and just attack it with his units. Because I just don't see Kido defending it with being down an extra town center. He's down this town center as well. He's only got one. So just does not have the population. The fortified town center is going down, so actually maybe he can come back from this. Taking down these villagers would be very, very nice, but I imagine there's some big upgrades in. No, there isn't. Doesn't even have any of the upgrades to make the building stronger, so bronze coming in. Again, last-ditch effort bronze. We've been here before with the last one with the restoration, but bronze definitely better. Can he defend this position? The Heliopolis going down is not ideal because the guard tower's now going to be dealing big damage. Samurai specials. The Paspis in the queue. Going to be coming through. Town center back up. Back up to 210 population. Champion Myrmidon and crew on the way. Maybe instead of the Heliopolis going for the catapult here with a wall. But then the Samurai just come knock down the wall. Or actually the Onmyojis probably counter those guys way too quickly. Name something they don't counter. Let's just say that. What do they not counter? Because they do crash damage, so they're good against siege weapons. They deal bonus damage versus myth units, so they're good against those. And they deal high deeps, so they're good against everything else. I don't know. Yes, Bellerophon. Get in there, boy. Get in there. Deal something. And Kido is holding so well. If he could have managed to hold this third town center, I think he'd be in an amazing spot right now with how well he's defending down 1-2C. All the villagers on the favor trying to save up for something. Is it going to be... Do you ever save up for a lightning storm? I don't know whether that's really the play. But definitely, there we go. 20 again. 20 villagers on the TC. He's got 138 favor. Maybe another bronze to come through. As the myth units are no longer an option because of the sheer amount of heroes that are in. The heroes are expensive, though. I don't know whether Mirari really has the gold. Does he not have gold? He's fighting over this one. Does he not have trade set up? The issue is I don't think Kido has trade set up anymore. No, he's got 5. So once the gold's out for him, it might be lights out. It's going to be a super close game at the end of this. 940 gold for the Amaterasu here. I don't think he's got anything else. So these players going off of no gold. So it doesn't matter what the town center situation is, really. Maybe Kido with his heavy Myrmidons, champion Myrmidons. Why is this one heavy? This one's champion. No, nobody knows. But they're free units. As long as he keeps these 4 fortresses alive, gets a bronze off. GG, right? Or build Medusa, build Hydra, build whatever. Doesn't really matter. But he can build non-gold based units. Unless this gold mine's in. But looking at this score, I don't think it is. Obviously, Kido doesn't know. But once your enemy starts to fight with his villagers to take care of a gold mine, you know that that's probably the case. And it is going to be the restoration going to be coming through rather than the bronze. Either way, forces him back. Forces him back. The champion Yumi archers on this backside. Not enough gold for champion Toxotes, but the Toxotes are such a good answer to these Onmyoji, forcing them back as they are going to be better than the Medusas in this position. But for fighting on this gold towers, guard towers, I don't know. I think he was fine. Maybe the trade's going to start to come up though. Maybe that's the issue. Such a hard position to be in, not knowing that there's actually no gold left. And how much of the trade was started here for Mirari? Where is it? Where is his trade? I can't swap to his perspective, but we've got markets coming up, and I imagine it goes to this one. Was there even any? One deer caravan. And what are the sell rates? The sell rates are awful. So I don't know. I think this game could have been Kido's. He played it so well. But maybe just this sheer amount of army, you've got to wait. It may be if there was still the 7 that we had earlier, 7 fortresses, could have been good. But well played to Kido anyway. Obviously well played to Mirari for taking that one. And yeah, always love a Zeus game.